Christian, how are you doing these days?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, Rowana. It's a pleasure to see you. It's been a while, but it's good to see you again.
Christian, can you describe yourself when you were religious?
So I was still much younger than today, so I was very religious, I would say, between the age of 10 and the age of 20, more or less. I remember taking things very seriously. I used to go to the Christian doctrine lessons, to prepare for Holy Communion, for confirmation, and it used to impress me, especially the stories, maybe about hell, for example, about heaven, and I remember worrying a lot and almost obsessing whether I'm doing a sin or not. I was very active in the religious organization that I used to form part of. I used to teach other children as well, even though I was young. Since I was 12 years old, I used to teach the young ones as well. And I used to enjoy teaching, so it was part sort of my character as well. And in fact, till today, I still teach at university. But my life was focused only on these religious activities. So in a way, although I had a lot of friends, they were more like colleagues to me. And I was growing, I became a teenager, I became adolescent, I was growing up, but not really living according to my age. I was taking a lot of responsibility, which the other friends at school, they had no idea, I was becoming very different from the others. So sort of religion for me was connected with this kind of growing into adulthood before the time to grow.
Why did you leave the religion? Like you said, you had a very big bond with religion, and
So
suddenly you left. Why you take that decision?
it was a big decision, but there were signs very early on, I would say. So I remember I used to go to the church every morning, okay, to hear mass. I used to go before school very early at 6 a.m. And I still remember being doubtful. They used to tell us the Eucharist is the real body and blood of Christ and so on. And ultimately, I'm a scientist now, right? So I used to question a lot. I used to say, how is this possible? How can I believe in these things when there is ultimately no evidence at all? So these kind of doubts, at first, people used to tell me, but it's normal to have doubts. You should not worry. It's part of your growth, you know. Um, and at that time, before I went to university, I had never encountered someone who was an atheist, for example. So for me, they used to tell us that atheists must be crazy, they must be stupid to be atheists. So sort of it wasn't an option. But then when I started university, when I was 18, it was the first time that I had professors who were atheists. And they used to speak quite publicly about it. And actually, from my perspective at least, these atheist professors were the coolest ones somehow. They were very good in their subject, and they left an impression on me. They were not crazy. They were not stupid. It was like a choice. It was the way they saw reality, and from that point, it sort of became an option for me. And the more I continued to think about it, the more I felt that religion wasn't making sense for me. Um, so, slowly, it was inevitable. But I want to separate my loss of religion and faith, from also leaving the religious organization that I was part of, because that was a big part of my identity. And actually, I left this organization before I lost my faith. Because I was realizing that because I was so involved in this religious organization, I was missing out on relationships. I was ignoring my emotions, my sexuality, So I wanted to live a more complete life. So I decided to leave this religious organization. Then a little after that, I was continuing to explore life. I was making new friends. And the more I explored, the more I questioned, the more I lost my faith. It was not easy at all because, as you said, my life had a complete bond with religion. Like everything I did was related to religion, basically. But I wanted to be true to myself. And the only way to be true to myself was to leave religion.
What age you became like complete atheist?
So it was it's difficult to find an exact point in my life, But I would say when I was about 23, I became a complete atheist. I'm now 39. So, like, about half of my life now, I have lived as an atheist.
More than an atheist, you are the president of Humanist Malta. And why you became a humanist? Why you chose the humanist?
So, at first, when I left religion, I felt very alone. Like, I didn't know many other people like me, because all my friends were from religious background. I left religion around 2007. In 2010 there was the first meeting of the Humanist Association. So it was formed in 2010. And I didn't go to the first meeting, but I remember like I had a colleague at work who went, and I was interested because I felt maybe this could be something where I could feel a sense of connection, when I could meet like-minded people, maybe where we could have discussions. So I was interested. I joined the Facebook group at that time. The big jump was when there was a course for celebrants, for humanist celebrations. Maybe for those who don't know much about this, there are humanist weddings, humanist baby namings, humanist funerals. And when there was the first course for humanist celebrants in Malta in 2015, it felt like um, even though maybe we are atheists, there is still a lot of meaning in life. We still need to celebrate our important moments in life. We still love other people. We still have to deal with our debt. So I became part of the Humanist Celebrants, and I still celebrate these kind of celebrations. And then eventually, I decided to join the Humanist Association Committee. There was a need for volunteers to help keep up the association. And I joined the committee in 2018. And in 2019, then I became the chairperson. It was not really by choice, but at that time, it seemed that I was the one who could take on the responsibility. And I feel that since then, I have learned a lot because I realized how much I needed to read more about humanism, to learn about the philosophy behind humanism. And now I'm very much like absorbed in these philosophical ideas, and I really enjoy reading a lot of books on this, and I hope to continue learning even more.
What future do you see for humanist?
So the world is changing very fast, and especially when it comes to technology. And I think we really need to ask what it means to be a human in the current day and age. Because with technology, we don't just create technology, we don't just use technology. Technology also changes us in very profound ways. So I think humanism can help us navigate these questions, to continue asking what does it mean to live a good life? What does it mean to be fully human? You know, these kind of questions that as a community we can keep exploring and ultimately living happily and in a good community as well.
I think my last question, what message you have to give to who see some issues with their religion and who wanna live their religion, and but still they are like thinking, will I live or not, will I live or not, or they don't see leaving a religion as an option. So do you have any message for those kind of viewers?
The choice is not easy. So I remember myself these years ago, and it was a very profound experience that shook me to my foundations, you know. So I can understand that leaving religion is very hard, and ideally people like this should seek support. I think this is my main suggestion. Take your time. This is not something to hurry about. This is not something to do it with through anger, you know. So take time, read, reflect, speak to others. And ultimately, I think the important thing, whatever the choice, it's a process of growth. I think this is the crucial thing. Ultimately, we need to become better humans with ourselves, with others, with our environment. So sometimes I've heard like people coming from an atheist background, and when they mature, they somehow see that religion gives them something that they wanted. And I've seen the opposite. People who start off very religious in their lives, and then as they mature, they tend towards atheism. Whatever it is, I think ultimately it's the important thing is the idea of authenticity, finding what really feels authentic for you. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
invitation. It's a pleasure.